Hi Libra, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your February 2021 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. As far as personal readings go, if you're interested in those, just check out the description of the video for more details there. As far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic cross spread as always. There we go. And I'm actually going to open the reading with those astrology dice that you see in front of us. So that'll help you get some insight into what areas of focus you'll be dealing with as far as that goes, and then we'll also read an oracle card and a mudra card once we're done with all that. All right, so we'll get started with the dice. All right, let's see what we get. Okay, so we have Scorpio. So for you guys, that's your second house. Could be a lot of focus on finances for you guys this month, possessions, self-worth. We have Pluto, so more Scorpio energy there since they're ruled by Pluto, but also Pluto is in Capricorn, so that could be fourth house matters for you guys, home, family, roots. And sixth house, so this is your work, your daily routine, health, so it could be an area of focus for you guys there. And that's for you guys, that's Pisces, and we have Neptune there, of course. All right, so we'll keep those in mind as we go through the main spread. And in the main situation position, you have the Nine of Wands. So this is actually Sagittarius energy, which for you guys is your house communication. So you could be a bit reserved when it comes to communicating. That's certainly one way this could be playing out. You know, maybe there's been a lot of communication because, of course, this comes after the Eight of Wands, but it might have been a bit contentious because, you know, if we look at his body language there, he looks a bit, like he's just waiting for the next battle basically to come along. He's not feeling very optimistic, which is, not usually the way Sagittarian energy flows. And then we also see it looks like he has a bandage on his head, so could have just been some issues around communication recently. In the challenger obstacle position, we have the Lovers in reverse. So this is actually Gemini energy here. And of course, they're the natural rulers of the third house communication. So there's definitely a connection there. And then, of course, this is South Node versus North Node energy. Now, I do have to say, with this coming up in reverse, could just be saying that you might be holding on to certain beliefs a little bit too tightly, given that the South Node is in your third house communication, whereas the North Node, being your ninth house, it's in Gemini right now. So could just be asking you guys to look at things from a higher perspective, right? And we even see that with the artwork there. So there could be a bit of resistance on your part, where you could just be holding on to. So with those wands there, it could just represent beliefs that you guys might have been holding on to for a long time. And even if evidence is coming forward that represents the opposite of that, you just might be holding on to it. Of course, on a more mundane level, this could just be saying that maybe you guys had some contentious conversations with someone as far as a love connection, for example. So maybe you had a falling out with someone. If that's the case, you might be able to revisit that as we experience the Mercury retrograde energy, which is pretty much going to be for the majority of February. It's going to go retrograde right at the very end of January. So as we get into February, you're already going to be experiencing that retrograde energy. So given that that's going to be in your fifth house of romance, could certainly point out to a possible argument that you might have with a loved one in that regard. And verbs, we get that this could be around travel as well. Maybe you guys are hoping to get some traveling done, but it's not really happening for you. That's pretty widely known as an issue for a lot of people around the world, so that's certainly a possibility too. Foundation position, we have the Fool. So this represents at least wanting to take a risk. It definitely seems like a big departure from that Nine of Wands territory. So for some of you, this could be what landed you in that situation. That's certainly a possibility. Or this could just be saying that this is where you're being led, So you might eventually get to the point where you get out of that Nine of Wands energy and you finally do just let that weight and that burden go and actually move forward with a more optimistic viewpoint. Try to think if anything else comes to mind with this. Yeah, that's about it. All right, in the past position, we have the Chariot in reverse, which is Cancer energy, and Knight of Swords in reverse, which is Gemini energy. So, for those of you who've been watching my channel for a while, I always say that almost without fail, this card pops up a lot during Mercury retrograde cycles, and here we see it in the past position. And given that it comes up with the Chariot, for some of you, this could be something that goes back to when Mercury was retrograde in Cancer, because it was the water signs last year and even the year before that. Now it's going to be retrograde in the air signs. So could just be saying that something from back then could have been the cause of what this issue is. Now, for some of you, this could be around career as well, social status, given that Cancer energy is your 10th house. And again, I'm getting that vibe that for some of you, this can just be around literal travel. You know, you might want to travel somewhere and you've just had to cancel those plans, and there's some disappointment around that. That's certainly another way I could see that playing out. And for some of you, if this is around a relationship, same dynamic there, where, you know, I see like, looks like things are just at a standstill between the two of you right now. Present position, we had the Three of Swords, so this is actually Libra energy here, and obviously it's a pretty self-explanatory card, right? It looks like there's some disappointment at the very least. You know, this does come after the Two of Swords, so it could just be saying that maybe, you know, you might have been turning a blind eye to some things that could have led you to the situation. For others, you could just be saying, you know, maybe you weren't expressing yourselves, and that could have led to this as well. So, you know, there's plenty of ways that the energy could play out. And again, like I said, you guys are going through, well, when we get into February, I should say, when we're in February, you guys are going to be going through a Mercury retrograde in your 5th house. Of course, we have Jupiter in there too, and Saturn. So, you know, a whole lot going on in your 5th house. So, it could definitely be around romance for some of you. For some, it could be around creativity. But that's what I see there. All right. In the near future position, a ton of cards came up. We have the Empress. So this has more of an earthy vibe, so I usually view this as more of a Taurus energy, but given that you guys are also ruled by Venus, because this could totally be pointing to you. We have the Queen of Cups, so again, we see more Cancer energy, 10th house for you guys. The Hierophant, Taurus energy, which for you guys is your 8th house. Ace of Cups, Two of Cups, so more Cancer energy, and Seven of Cups, Scorpio energy. So Scorpio being one of the cards that came up for you guys. All right, so let's piece this together. So on the one hand, this could just be saying that you might be a bit reserved right now. Now, I will say this is certainly a positive sign as far as that Three of Swords energy might not last for you guys for too long. But with the Empress energy here, it could just represent you guys opening yourselves up to an extent, right? Being more on the receptive end of the spectrum as opposed to going after things. But then here with the Queen of Cups, it almost makes you think, well, not necessarily the opposite, but obviously I always point out with this card that it's the only cup in the cup suit that's actually closed off. So, you know, there is that. Now with the Hierophant here, this could just be pointing to intimacy for some of you guys, given that that is the 8th house. And I'm also getting for some of you, this can be totally around finances too. Well, let me just keep going and then we'll go back to the finance aspect. Ace of Cups, obviously there could be that desire to have a fresh start with someone. So especially for those of you, if you did have a falling out around a connection. Now with the Two of Cups, I actually do see that there actually will be some movement there if that's the case. And with the Seven of Cups, you might have a little bit of confusion around it. So, you know, I see this as a situation. So, for example, let's say you had a falling out with someone from the past. You guys get back together. Maybe things are going great, but then there's still a little confusion around it, right? Like, okay, is this really the right thing for me or not, right? So, just keep in mind you are going to be dealing with that retrograde. So, if that's how you're feeling, the best bet might be to give it a little more time before you decide one way or the other, right? It's totally possible that, yeah, you might decide, oh, you know what, I totally thought I wanted this person back. Here I am, I'm back with them, and now I'm not so sure. Maybe when the retrograde's over, you might decide, yeah, I'm definitely, you know, I experienced it. Now I know, okay, we were apart for a reason, right? For others of you, it could be one of those things where it will work out. But if this is the energy you're in, just give it some time. Now, financially, with the Empress here, and then that Queen of Cups, could just be pointing to new financial opportunities for you guys. Definitely, possibly a new job offer. And if that's the case, it looks like it'd be a more traditional role. So, for example, it might be with a company that's been around forever, or just more of a traditional 9 to 5 type situation. If that's the case, though, the good thing is it looks like there's going to be a meeting of the minds there. So it can be a collaborative effort. You might even just be linking up with someone that you've known for a long time, and, they might invest in a business situation with you. And with the Seven of Cups there, it could just be saying that there might be a little bit of confusion around, how much to invest, when to invest, why to invest, right? Given that this is your second house of finances, and the Scorpio energy was one of your areas of focus. So there is confusion around finances. You might just have to ride out that retrograde energy and wait until March to see more clarity there. All right. The position of your influence in a situation, we have the Six of Wands, which is Leo energy, Nine of Swords, more Gemini energy, the Hangman, Pisces energy, Six of Cups, Scorpio energy, so there we see that again, and Page of Wands. Okay. So the Six of Wands usually represents some kind of a victory, right? Some recognition at the very least. This is Leo energy, so I point out to people that sometimes it could be as simple as people wishing you happy birthday, right? It doesn't have to be a huge thing, but there's definitely some kind of recognition, some communication around that. But with the Nine of Swords immediately afterwards, what I'm picking up on here for some of you, maybe this is saying that there could have been a situation where pride was at play. So, for example, let's say you got into an argument with someone and you might have known that you were in the wrong, but you're already in it. And you're like, whatever, I'm riding this out, right? And in the moment, it might have felt good, right? You got into an argument, said what you had to say, maybe hit below the belt in some way, shape, or form. Then immediately after that, there came the guilt, right? So you had that momentary high of, all right, yeah, I feel like I really won, right? And then there could be that feeling of, all right, as time passes by, okay, was that the right thing, right? Looking at things from a higher perspective, which you've probably been doing quite a bit given that you have the North Node in your 9th house, as we talked about. Possibly wanting to extend the olive branch after looking at things from a higher perspective and actually taking action, and that might get things moving forward with you and another person. That's not necessarily how it has to be, though. Let's see what else this could be pointing to. For some of you, this might be saying that, there could be some fear around success. And if that's the case, you might have to revisit something from your past or just reconnect with something or someone from your past. And that could actually be the key to moving you forward, too. So hopefully one of those storylines resonated with you. Like I said, a ton of cards there. In the environment position, we have the Death card. So again, more Scorpio energy. That was one of your area of focus with the dice as well. So this is, for me, primarily I view this as shifting with finances. This can be another person that you're dealing with. That's certainly a possibility. So maybe that's also why the Scorpio energy came up there, saying that this could be, maybe, for example, if you were in a connection with the Scorpio, they could be the ones that are coming back around for the retrograde. But yeah, with the Death, it represents a transformation. Now, for a lot of you, we do see some transformation energy. We see that Three of Swords, the Nine of Wands. We see the Fool, the Empress, right? So it looks like you're going through some kind of a transition in more of a negative, and more of a positive direction, rather, excuse me. But it could just be saying that, like I was saying for some of you, if I picked up on that correctly, where you might have just been holding on to some beliefs for a long time that maybe just don't fit with you anymore, and you might have had some reluctance to let them go out of comfort. This could just be saying that you might be letting that go. So like I said, for example, let's say if you did have some kind of a fear around success, and maybe you have to go back and revisit why that's the case, right? And then you actually clear that blockage and you get that forward movement. So for the majority of you guys, see this as more of a positive thing as far as, something ending. But, I view this sometimes as the Hierophant energy too. So it's like maybe shifting out of those old traditional beliefs that you might have had and, really just going towards something that fits you better in today's energies, basically. All right, in the hopes or fears position, we have Judgment. So this represents that, I would say for most of you, this, well, could go either way, given that what we were just talking about, right? For some of you might fear to go back to something from your past because it just might maybe still hold some trauma for you and you maybe haven't been looking at that. But for others, you just could just be saying, on a more mundane level, let's say, like I said, if this was around a romantic connection, maybe you're wanting to go back and repair that, right? For some of you, could have even been family connections, given that you had so much heavy energy in your fourth house. Maybe you're wanting to repair that type of connection. So, a few different ways I could see that going. But I will say, these are both Scorpio energies to me. This is obviously the death side of the death rebirth energy that Scorpio represents, and then the judgment is the rebirth side of that. So, looks like a natural cycle there. And Judgment is another card that tends to come up quite a bit during retrogrades as well. All right, and in the outcome position, we have the King of Pentacles. So, pretty positive energy to see here because this represents, at least at a minimum, a sense of stability, a sense of growth, a sense of security. So, definitely looks like a pretty positive way for you to end up there. If this is around, for those of you, maybe if you have investments, looks like they might be playing out in a positive manner for you guys, given that Taurus energy represents your 8th house. Keep in mind, Taurus energy is going to be pretty busy, I should say. I'm recording this more or less just past the midpoint of January, so we're officially in Mercury retrograde shadow period. It hasn't officially started yet, but already tripping over my words, so maybe some of you are already feeling that too. But you're going to have Mercury intense aspects with those energies that are going to be, Uranus and Mars both in Taurus, and then you have the fact that Saturn and Jupiter are all going to be making squares to them, so there's going to be a lot of volatility. So for some of you, it might be a bit of a bumpy ride for a bit, but with this showing up in the outcome position, could just be saying that, even if your investments might look a little bit bumpy for a bit, it looks like they might bounce back in a more positive way. And this could represent some growth for you guys around intimacy too. Like I said, maybe for whatever reason you guys have been a bit reserved in that area, and now this could represent you finally have that growth there and that comfort level there. So hopefully that resonates with you. And at the bottom of the deck, we have 10 of Cups. So that's Pisces energy. So obviously this looks like a positive outcome as far as love goes, but also keeping in mind that Pisces energy for you guys is work. And we did see 6th house as one of your areas of focus too. Looks like there could be some growth and positive movement there too. And I did notice that beneath that, we actually have the King of Cups. So again, we see Scorpio energy. So there's definitely some significance there. All right, next we'll move on to the Oracle card. You guys got Serendipity. There's the artwork, and the number is 18. Okay, it says opportunity allied with readiness, the awareness of synchronicity, luck and good fortune appearing as signs and symbols, a magical alignment of events. The Oracle's message: you've stepped into alignment with the greater good, where your dreams and the collective dream resonate in exquisite harmony. Now is the time for luck and preparation to meet and create miracles that you could never have planned all by yourself. Keep in mind that you are a channel for providence right now, as a higher energy uses you as a force on behalf of the whole world. Your fortune becomes everyone's fortune. Everything you bring into being now will leave a wondrous legacy for others in the future. Your service to the world is being supported at this time. Expect the unexpected and smile, for Spirit loves you so very much. So, pretty positive message there. The expect the unexpected made me think of the Fool card in the Foundation, where you might have a sudden change of direction that you might not have been expecting. But at the same time, with the Death card in the Environment position, I feel like it's more of a thing where you might clear a blockage that might have been around you for a long time, and that could propel you forward. So, hopefully that resonated. All right, the relationship message says Spirit has a plan, and that plan is to place you in front of the right person at the right time. You have met or are about to meet someone vitally important to your journey, someone Spirit wants to bring into your life. Only divine forces can plan this meeting. It is out of your hands. Pay attention to the signs Spirit presents. So, pretty positive message there. So, for some of you, I was definitely getting the vibe of maybe reconnecting with someone from the past, but for some of you, it could also be someone new, obviously. So, hopefully that resonated too. And the prosperity message says you are in the right place at the right time. Be grateful, for the stars are aligned in your favor and fortune is smiling on you. Victory and success are yours. The choices you have made in the past have prepared you for the opportunities now before you. This is your lucky moment. The timing is perfect. So interesting to see that message there. It made me think of the fact that you guys have Jupiter in your fifth house, which could point to some luck, some fortune in certain scenarios. And with it in the fifth place, it is a pretty place for it to be as far as transits go. So you might have some luck around that. Like I was saying, for some of you, I felt like that was more investments. So you might even have some luck with, let's say if you just pick up a random scratch off ticket or something like that, maybe that could have a little luck for you guys as well. Next, we'll move on to your Mudra card. All right, the Mudra you guys got for this month is the Jnana Mudra, and the keyword for it is wisdom. All right, there's the info on it if you want to pause it or take a screenshot. But under benefits, it says evokes the feeling of lightness, calms the mind and brightens the spirit, opens the chest and facilitates diaphragmatic breathing, reverses the outward flow of prana and directs energy back toward the body, increases the benefits of any asana. So, that sounds like something that you think would be beneficial for you guys. I will put the name of the Mudra in the description video as always. Wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.